Snowflake Creator by Rachel Wicks. I used the paper and the digital from Dr. Kwan's lesson. It was easy enough. I think it's a great tool for both, for people who love cutting or for people who like messing around on the computer. I like the computer because it was easier to manipulate and it had a back button. But I loved it because the students, they're going to be able to create multiple snowflakes. Each one will be different and you don't have a waste of paper. I think this is a fun activity for students. They can learn that their snowflakes are different like themselves. They can compare it to their friends. It's teaching symmetry, it's teaching shapes, it's teaching uniqueness. And personally, like I said before, I think this is a great website. What Do Animals Do by Rachel Wicks. What Do You Do with a Tale Like This is a book I'm going to read. It's going to be for grades 1 through 3. Their objectives are to create a creature with unique body parts and explain how the animal uses that body part to help them in their environment. They're going to discover that some tails are large and thick to hold on things. Some can fall off to protect them. The eyes are forward or they're on the side, to look for predators. They're going to find all these things out after we read this story. You have this model, we're engaging, getting them engaged, we're messing around, we're questioning, we're tinkering, we're going to be experimenting, repurposing, maybe recycling those kind of materials, and eventually we will end up producing. So after we read this book, we're going to take a poll, which animal body part do the students think are the coolest, and create a bar graph. This bar graph can be in their learning journal, it can be on the floor, on the board. There are websites that allow you to create bar graphs, but the best part is when they're sitting on the ground and you're discussing this and talking to them, they're going to have that open conversations with their friends, saying why they liked the eyes better or why they like the feet. It's getting them to start thinking. It's getting those creative juices flowing. They're having to explain their reason. And when explaining their reason, it goes into the questioning, the playing, the researching. We're going to use Switch Zoo. As you can tell at the top, Switch Zoo, you're able to create an animal using different body parts. And it sets it in the mountain regions, or it sets it in the grasslands, or in the polar regions, based on the animal. They're also going to use the binome part as an extension. If they picked this animal here, would it be able to live in a forest? No, it wouldn't. And they're going to have to explain why. And this image shows where all the different habitats or the binomes are on our planet. We will also be using Plum's Creaturizer as well. Plum's Creaturizer is a great way of experimenting. It comes up with these fantastical creatures. It will not allow you to create one on your own. You just push the pause button and it pops one up. But here's the fabulous part. The animal, if you hold up your tablet, it shows what it's going to look like in each environment, how it defends itself, how it would eat, how it would rest or blend in. Now, it's also going to make you think a walrus tusk is not going to be great for a vegetarian. So it will make them have to analyze the body parts. Would the wings actually be able to hold up a creature like this? Then we start the creating. You can either use the one from PBS or Switch Zoo. I like either one, but personally my favorite is the Switch Zoo because you can see what a realistic animal looks like. If you were going for more realistic, this is the better one. But if you want to go for fantastic creatures, this would be the way to go. As you see, this is a different creature that's flying around in my house. This one has a platypus bill, with squirrel feet and ram's horns, so it would be a little different. Now, creating part 2, they're going to actually have to draw their material, their picture out, not just the material, but draw it out and think about, where is this creature going to live? How can it survive in a certain habitat? So I wanted to make a bunny dog, but when I tried to make it on Switch Zoo, it didn't have a tail that I liked. It came up with a fish tail that I picked. And that's when I had to go, this isn't going to work on land. It would work great in the pool, but my dog can't swim, so that tail's really not going to happen. But I can't have it on land, so I need to come up with a different body part. And I didn't like what they had to offer, so I drew it out. And there, as you can see, it has a little beard like my dog, has a dog tail. The ears aren't quite like a bunny. And then I had to decide, was it going to live in the woodlands or not? But I wanted to go on to the final project. I had all of this toilet paper rolls, and I had buttons from a previous project, and I had scissors and glue. So the paper I cut out to make it look like my doggie's beard. I used the buttons on a Kleenex box that I had already wrapped, and I made the ears to where they would actually be on the side instead of the front like a typical rabbit. I wanted them more like a dog where it could stand up on its own or swivel. And so I would have to justify the swiveling. Well, the swiveling would be for it to hear its enemies. I created the beard so as it's snuffling along on the ground, it would, sort of pick up those smells of where it wanted to go. Now, I did not create legs for this one. But with a student, they would actually have to create legs and the rest of the body. But I wanted to show you what it could look like with a realistic type of animal versus a crazy wild looking one. Now with my animal, I'm going to have to go, okay, it could be grasslands, it could be the forest, it could be anything. But when you're extending it, you can extend it by showing them how to use the snippet tool on the computer, so they would go back to the Switch Zoo, snip their grasslands out or their polar. They could use the creature they created or a new one, and they could outline it, and you're teaching them another form of digital art where they would cut it out and then paste it onto their binome. And then they're going to explain how that works together. In this case, a wolf isn't going to really work that well with a grassland. It would be more in the mountain regions, but I wanted to show you that, the tail could, keep it cool maybe. And they could also use the creaturizer. It's called smashing. You're using more than one app at a time, so that would be fun for the students. And I just wanted to thank you for listening to this lesson. Have a great day.